Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something I think, well, almost every English learner has felt at some point.
That moment, right, when you need to speak, maybe answer a question, and your mind just goes completely blank.
Exactly. Total freeze. And it's
Yeah.
so frustrating, especially, after you've spent hours studying.
It really is. And it's super common. So if this happens to you, you are definitely not alone.
Yeah, that's important to hear.
So the big question we're tackling is why? Why does this freezing happen, even if you've been learning for ages?
Right. We want to go beyond just saying, I don't have the words.
Precisely. We'll look at the real reasons behind it, what's happening in your brain and body, and importantly, practical things you can actually do.
Things to stay calm, feel more confident, and get those words flowing even under pressure.
Our goal, really, is to help you unlock that more natural, spontaneous English speaking that you're aiming for.
Okay, let's jump in. So the first big idea, I guess, is that freezing up isn't really fundamentally a language problem.
That's key. It feels like it is, obviously, because you can't find the words, but it's actually more of an emotional response.
An emotional response to what, though? Like the pressure?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pressure, fear. Think about it like this. Imagine you absolutely know how to swim. You've had lessons, you get the technique,
Okay.
but you're standing by the pool and suddenly you're just terrified to jump in. That fear can completely paralyze you,
Yeah.
right? Even though you can swim.
Ah, I see. So the knowledge is there, but the fear blocks the action.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking English,
Right.
especially when you feel watched or evaluated, can trigger that same kind of fear.
It activates that, what is it, the fight, flight, freeze thing?
Exactly. Fight, flight, or freeze. It's this ancient survival mechanism built into our brains.
Even for something like speaking English, seems a bit dramatic.
Well, yeah. The brain sometimes struggles to tell the difference between, say, a real physical threat and a social threat, like the fear of being judged or failing. So it perceives this threat, and boom, the system kicks in. The crucial insight here isn't about language failure. It's about your brain trying to protect you, but maybe overreacting to social pressure.
So let's focus on that freeze part. Because
Yeah.
you're not running away, you're just stuck.
Right, and when that freeze response activates, your body tries to conserve energy. It starts shutting down functions it thinks aren't essential for immediate survival.
And I'm guessing speaking English isn't high on the survival priority list at that moment.
Unfortunately, no. Things like clear thinking, complex problem solving, and easily accessing your vocabulary, they get sidelined.
So that's why you suddenly forget a word you used just yesterday.
Precisely. The knowledge hasn't vanished. Your brain's threat response is just temporarily blocking the access road to it.
Wow. Okay. It's like a system overload causing a temporary shutdown.
Exactly.
That reminds me of a story we heard about Anna from Brazil. Apparently her written English was great, good grades, everything.
Okay.
But then in a business meeting, she just needed to introduce herself. Simple. Yeah.
She completely froze, couldn't even get out. I work in marketing.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't that she didn't know the phrase. It was purely the fear, the pressure of that specific situation. It just locked her up.
That's a perfect illustration. Anna's English knowledge was fine. The emotional pressure, that fear of judgment, triggered the freeze.
So it really shows that just learning more words isn't always the answer.
Right. We have to understand and tackle these emotional triggers too.
Okay, so we get that it's often emotional, but what are the specific triggers? What are the main reasons learners tend to hit that wall mid-sentence?
Well, there are a few really common ones. Probably the biggest is just the fear of making mistakes.
Ah, yes. The perfectionist trap.
Totally. There's this intense worry about getting the grammar wrong or mispronouncing something. You worry people will laugh or correct you or maybe think you're not smart.
And that fear itself becomes the problem. It really does. It creates so much internal pressure that it actually causes the stumbles you were afraid of. It's a bit of a cycle. A quick tip here is just trying to accept mistakes as, well, normal.
Because they are. Even native speakers mess up.
Constantly. We just don't dwell on it. So mistake phobia is huge. What else?
What comes next?
Tied closely to that is the fear of being judged.
How's that different from fear of mistakes?
It's broader, maybe. It's worrying about your accent sounding bad or coming across as unintelligent generally. It's that feeling of not belonging or being seen as an outsider.
That deep human need for acceptance, huh?
Exactly. And that fear can really hold you back from even trying because you're scared of that negative social feedback.
Makes sense. Okay, what's the third reason?
Overthinking every single sentence.
Oh, I can see this one. trying to build the perfect sentence in your head before you even open your mouth.
Right. You're mentally checking the grammar, searching for the absolute best vocabulary word, thinking about the pronunciation.
And meanwhile, the conversation has moved 3 topics along.
Precisely. Real conversation is usually too fast for that kind of mental construction. You get flustered, you miss your chance. The mini tip here, focus on communication, getting your idea across, not grammatical perfection.
Connection over correction.
Love that. Connection over correction.
Yeah. Okay, what else causes freezing?
A big one is simply a lack of real speaking practice.
So studying books isn't enough.
It's important, absolutely. You need the knowledge base. But reading grammar rules or doing fill-in-the-blank exercises doesn't build the same skills as actual spontaneous conversation.
Right. It's like reading about swimming versus actually getting in the pool.
Perfect analogy again. Your brain needs practice in retrieving and using language quickly, in real time. Without that practice, the neural pathways aren't strong enough for fluid speech, especially under pressure.
So you need to build the speaking muscle.
You do. And a quick tip, you can practice speaking even when you're alone. Talk to yourself, describe what you're doing, try shadowing, even role play simple conversations.
Gets your mouth and brain used to forming the words. Okay, what's the last main reason?
The last one is feeling pressure to speak fast.
Trying to keep up with native speakers.
Yeah, there's often this misconception that you have to reply instantly at the same speed. Rushing yourself like that just increases the anxiety.
And anxiety leads back to freezing.
Exactly. It overwhelms your brain. So the mini tip is, give yourself permission to pause. It's okay to take a second to think before you answer. Really.
Okay, so those are some big reasons. Fear of mistakes, judgment, overthinking, lack of practice, and feeling rushed. We understand the why much better now.
Yeah, hopefully that clarifies things a bit.
So let's shift gears. What can people actually do about it? What are some practical strategies to stop the freezing and start speaking more naturally?
Okay, yeah, let's get practical. Strategy number 1, actively train yourself to stay calm.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It takes practice, for sure.
Yeah.
But when you feel that anxiety rising, consciously use deep breathing. Slow, deep breaths actually send a signal to your brain that you're safe.
Okay, how? Like a specific technique.
A really simple and effective one is the 4-4-6 breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath gently for 4 seconds. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds.
In for 4, hold 4, out for 6.
Yep. Repeat that just 3 times before you speak, or even during a pause. It can really help calm the nervous system and allow for clearer thinking.
I like that. It's very concrete. Okay, what's next?
Start with small conversations. Don't jump straight into high-stakes debates.
Lower the pressure, basically.
Exactly. Practice in low-pressure situations first. Ordering coffee, saying hi to a neighbor, asking a simple question in a shop.
Like, where can I find the milk?
Perfect. Every time you have a small, successful interaction like that, it builds a little bit of confidence. It's like stacking small wins.
Makes it less daunting to try bigger conversations later. Okay, what if you do freeze mid-conversation? Is there a way out?
Yes. Prepare and use rescue phrases.
Rescue freezes. Like what?
Simple things you can say when your mind goes blank. Like, sorry, could you repeat that? Or, let me think for a second. Or even, what's the word I'm looking for?
Stuff native speakers say too, actually.
All the time. It buys you a moment to regroup, keeps the conversation sort of flowing, and takes the pressure off having an instant answer. It shows you're still engaged.
Good tip. Have a few of those ready. What else?
Shadowing daily. This one's really powerful for fluency.
Explain shadowing again.
You listen to natural English, a podcast, a video, whatever, and you immediately repeat what you hear. You try to copy the rhythm, the intonation, the flow.
So you're mimicking the sound, not just the words.
Exactly. The goal isn't perfect understanding. It's training your mouth and brain to produce the sounds and patterns of English more automatically. Less thinking, more doing.
Like learning the music of the language. Okay. What about hearing yourself?
That leads to the next one. Record yourself speaking.
Ooh, cringe factor for some people.
Huh? It can feel weird at first, definitely. But it's so valuable. Just record yourself talking for a minute or two about your day, anything.
And then listen back. Why?
2 reasons. First, you'll often realize you sound better than you think you do, which boosts confidence. Second, you can objectively hear areas to work on, maybe pronunciation, maybe hesitation words.
Getting that objective feedback.
Yeah.
I can see that. What's another strategy? More internal this time.
Practice thinking in English. This is huge for speed and fluency.
Instead of translating everything from your native language in your head.
Precisely. Try to cut out the middleman. Start small. Narrate your day internally in English. Okay, I need to make coffee. Where are my keys? Oh, it's raining today.
Simple thoughts first.
Yep. The more you make English the language of your internal monologue, the faster and more natural your speaking will become because you're closing that translation gap.
Building a direct line from thought to English speech makes sense. Okay, one more strategy.
Last one for today. Visualize success.
Like mental rehearsal.
Exactly. Spend a few minutes each day just imagining yourself speaking English. Picture yourself feeling confident, being understood, having a smooth conversation, feeling relaxed, maybe even proud.
Does that actually work?
It really can. Visualization helps build confidence and reduce anxiety before you're even in the speaking situation. You're mentally preparing for a positive outcome.
Okay, so those are some great actionable tools. Breathing, starting small, rescue phrases, shadowing, recording, thinking in English, and visualizing. Lots to try there.
Yeah, definitely some things to experiment with.
But you mentioned earlier, and it feels really important, that it's not just what you do, but also your mindset, right? How you approach learning.
Absolutely. Mindset is fundamental. If your underlying beliefs about learning and yourself are unhelpful, even the best strategies can struggle.
So what kind of mindset shifts help overcome freezing?
Okay, first big one. Focus on progress, not perfection.
Let go of needing to be flawless.
Yes. Language learning is a journey. Aim for small improvements every day, even just 1%. Celebrate that progress, however tiny it seems. Don't get bogged down waiting for some imaginary state of perfect fluency.
That takes a lot of pressure off. What's another key mindset?
Prioritize communication over grammar.
We touched on this. Getting the message across is more important than perfect sentences.
Exactly. Are you being understood? Are you connecting with the other person? That's the real goal. Don't let grammar fear silence you. Real talk is often messy, even for native speakers.
So true. Okay, what else? How should we approach those moments that feel scary?
Try to choose courage over comfort.
Step outside the comfort zone.
Yeah. Real growth happens when you do things that feel a little bit challenging or intimidating. Every time you speak English, even if it feels awkward, that's a moment of courage. Be proud of that effort.
I like that frame. Be proud of the attempt itself.
Definitely. Another helpful shift is to approach things with curiosity over fear.
How does that work?
Instead of seeing a conversation as a test you might fail, try to see it as an opportunity. Be curious about the other person, about the topic, even about the language itself. Curiosity opens doors. Fear slams them shut.
Turns anxiety into engagement. Nice. And the last mindset shift.
This is maybe the most important. Practice self-compassion over self-criticism.
Be kind to yourself.
Yes. Learning a language is hard. It takes time. You will make mistakes. You will have days where it feels difficult. Don't beat yourself up. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend learning something new.
Avoid that harsh inner critic.
Exactly. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient and supportive of your own efforts.
Progress, not perfection. Communication over grammar. Courage over comfort. Curiosity over fear. And self-compassion. Those feel really powerful together.
They really support each other, yeah. It's about building a healthier relationship with the language and with yourself as a learner.
So as we kind of wrap this up, what's the main thing you really want people listening to take away from all this?
I think the biggest thing is freezing when you speak English doesn't mean you're bad at it. It doesn't reflect your actual ability or intelligence.
It's a human response.
It's a totally normal human response to pressure and fear. Remember that. And every single attempt you make, every conversation, even the ones that feel clumsy, they all count. They're all building towards fluency.
The speaker you want to be is already inside you, sort of.
Absolutely. That confident speaker is in there. These strategies, this mindset, they just help clear the path so the person can come out more easily. Keep practicing, keep showing up.
That's really encouraging. So for someone listening now, what's a good, concrete first step they could take?
Maybe just take a quiet moment later today. Think about the reasons for freezing. We discussed fear of mistakes, judgment, overthinking, etc. Which one or ones really felt true for you?
Identify your main personal trigger.
Yeah. And then look at the strategies. Pick just one or maybe two that seem doable, that resonate with you, and just decide to try that one thing next time you speak English.
Don't try to do everything at once.
No, definitely not. Small, consistent steps are the key. Try the breathing, or prepare one rescue phrase, or just decide to focus on communication over perfection in your next chat.
That feels manageable. Excellent. Well, this has been incredibly insightful.
Hope it's helpful.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening to ponder. How might your next English conversation feel different if you consciously decided to shift your focus away from avoiding mistakes and towards simply connecting and communicating? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.